like nobody cares about how much money you would have if you invested in Google 15 years ago. Hello, rich friend. Let me tell you about 5 things I'm super glad that I did with my money in my early 20s. I keep saying my early 20s. I mean, I'm like at the end of my 20s now. Just 5 things that I'm really glad that I did, because I feel like a lot of times when we're talking about money, we only talk about like super negative things. We like to talk about things that like we regret and, oh, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. The simple fact of the matter is you didn't do it, it's over. Like nobody cares about how much money you would have if you invested in Google 15 years ago. Like nobody cares. Like, what are you doing with your money today? What are you doing with your money now? And that's what I care about. Let's get into it. Number 1, I am so glad that I prioritized saving and investing over debt payment. And here's why. When I graduated college, I only had 2 real things of debt. I had my student loans, which was $75,000 worth of student loans, and I had my car. Those were the only 2 forms of debt that I really had. Student loans weren't going anywhere, and I was only making, my first starting salary was $62,000. So there was no way that I was going to be able to pay off my student loans in a year anyway. So I wanted to focus on increasing my financial net worth. That was really my major goal. I wanted to prioritize saving. I wanted to prioritize investing, getting more dollars into the stock market, and learning different ways to increase. And I wanted to focus on building a business more than I wanted to focus on paying off debt, because when you pay off debt, you paid off debt. Like there's nothing substantial about it. That's really paying off debt to me, or being more focused on paying off debt than being focused on increase, means you're more focused on things that you did in the past versus what you can create and what you can make in the future. And I wanted to focus on the things that I did that I want to do in the future. I wanted to focus on creating more than paying off what I already did. If I just pay my bills regularly on time, my student loans were going to be paid off. My car note was going to be paid off. Like my car was going to be paid off regardless. Did I end up paying my car off faster? Yeah, I ended up paying it off in 3 years instead of 5 years. But that wasn't because I was doing anything more substantial, or I was trying to be anything that I wasn't. Like it was very strict that I wanted to focus on increasing my income more than anything and save more. So number 2, I am so glad that I put my bills on auto pay. And a lot of people think that you got to be a millionaire, you got to have all this money coming in to put your bills on auto pay. But really, when it comes to the root of it, the only way that you can put your bills on auto pay is to have enough money in the account. And so I was very strategic about organizing my money so that all the money was coming out of one specific account, and there was always enough money being withdrawn. There was always enough money in the account for the time that it needed to be withdrawn. And that's it. That's really all I had. Number 3, what made me say, I'm so glad that I did this. I'm so glad that I heavily contributed to my 401k. And if you want to hear a little bit more about just my 401k journey, what I've done with it, I do have a video about that. You know, watch it. But I'm so glad that I heavily invested. And I heavily invested, I think when I first started working, I was contributing like 15%. And then I was like, that's kind of a lot. So I scaled it back to 10%. And 10% of, $60,000. While I wasn't like maxing it out, that's still heavily contributing to my 401k. And that really set me up. By the time I turned 25, I had more than $50,000 in my 401k account. That is a lot of money, and that's more than a lot of people or other people have invested at that same age. So I was really proud of that, and I'm really glad that I did that because that gave me so many more options, and it helps boost my net worth, my financial net worth, a lot faster than, again, like focusing on paying off debt. Number 4, I'm so glad that I joined or applied to rotational programs. If you're a new college grad, or you're about to graduate college, I really, really, really hope that you get interested or you apply to new graduate rotational programs. That was probably the single most effective thing that I've done for my career, for my trajectory. Like I mentioned, my first offer when I went to my company, my first offer was for $60,000. Now I make over $90,000. And that was within 3 years, I went from 60,000 to 90,000. And that's pretty much unheard of, to have that substantial growth with salary strictly off of strictly being at the same company. Most people see that type of growth when they're switching companies, but I stayed within my company, and I want people to really get the experience and exposure through rotational programs, because there are so many good things. And you know what? I think I really want to do a video about that. So if you are interested, or you want to know a little bit more about my experience in a rotational program and why I highly recommend that, let me know in the comments, because I think I really do want to do a video. Regardless, I think I'm gonna do a video about it. I think that I'm gonna do a video about it because I think that rotational programs are so much more beneficial than to just go into an entry-level position. And if you're in that applying process, applying to a rotational program will be so much more effective, will make you so much more competitive, and give you so much more experience than just going into a traditional entry-level position. So I really want more people to get exposed to that, looking up companies that have rotational programs. I was really glad that I did that. And I was really strategic when I was applying to jobs. I either wanted to work as a regular public accountant, and that should also be on this list. So in addition to that bonus, I am so glad that I did not go into regular public accounting. I'm so glad. I am so thankful that all of those companies rejected me. I'm so glad. Like, I applied to like 52 different companies, and I think I did a blog post about this a couple years ago. I applied to so many companies, and not one of them said yes. Not one of them. And I was so heartbroken. Well, not one, actually only one. The company that I ended up working for was the only company that said yes, but I had applied to so many different accounting firms, and you know, the universe just knew that I was not meant to be a public accountant, that I was not meant to work in a public accounting firm, because I am so much happier for the path that I took. And I'm so glad that all of those companies told me no. That's the bonus for you. But number 5, the last thing that I'm really glad that I did with my money was obviously create a budget, but even further, create a flexible budget that worked for me, that makes me feel good, that didn't feel like a bad report card, because budgets tend to have that effect. They tend to make you feel like you aren't doing things correctly. And the first time I started budgeting, that shit sucked, and it just looked like a bad report card. It looked like I didn't know what I was doing, and it looked like I had to completely erase all things fun in the name of saving a couple dollars. And that's not the life that I wanted for myself. And I was still able to have money invested, have a stacked savings account, and still go on trips, still have fun. And that's really what it's all about. That's the whole purpose of budgeting. That's the whole purpose of being financially responsible, is so that you can have enough money to do the things that you need to do, but also the things that you like to do and the things that are fun. And I'm just so glad that I did not let other people's vision or other people's opinion on my money influence me to the point where I was doing things or holding a type of budget that didn't make me feel empowered and excited about my money. If you want to start or look at the types of budgets or get that free budgeting template that I have for my dollars that I created over the 6 months when I was a new grad and that I still use to this day, I'll put the link down in the comments, because I believe that budgeting templates should be free. There are some people who charge for theirs. That has nothing to do with me. I have a free budgeting template, and if you would like it, go ahead and grab it down below. And I'm just so glad that I was very much empowered to take charge of my money. And I'm so glad that I get to have conversations with you and just talk about money, because I love talking about money. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.